Thanks. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our event. This is the Know the BMF YP from the Sandton branch. So my name is Ayanda Masina, and I am the chairperson of the Young Professionals in the Sandton branch. And I'm just going to give you a landscape of the event for tonight and our different speakers, and then I'm going to hand over to my facilitator. So basically, how this event came about is that we were interacting with people, trying to find out what they know about the BMF and trying to get people to join. And we were met by a lot of what we believe are misconceptions of what the BMF is and what the BMF stands for. Some of this included that people think that the BMF is mainly for people who are in the financial sector, firstly. And surprisingly, the BMF is male dominated, which is not true. And also importantly, that the BMF is for older people. Hence, us as the young professionals decided to have this event to just sort of introduce ourselves as who we are as the young professionals within the BMF. So tonight we have a couple of panelists who are going to be addressing all of these issues. But before I get there, can I just ask that everybody switch off their microphones so that there's no interference? Okay, great. So yeah, tonight we're very lucky actually to have two of the founding members of the BMF, YP, and it was a process getting a hold of them, but we managed to find two of the founders who are going to tell us basically how the BMF Young Professionals came about. That's the first thing. And secondly, I'm going to have the chairperson of the BMF from a provincial level speak about our value proposal as the young professionals. And I'm also going to have our chairperson at motherboard level, Dr. Sbongile, just speak about the relationship between us as the YP, as them, and them as the mother body. And also I have one of our members who's just going to speak about her experience as a young professional within the BMF. So all of this will be facilitated by Kirsten, who's going to take over from me now, and then I will speak later on to close off the event. Thank you, Kirsten, over to you.
Excellent, thank you, Ayanda. Welcome everyone for joining us. Glad that you've made time out of your schedules to be with us today. I won't waste any time and we can get right into it, but quickly before I start, please use the chat box to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here with us today, and for the other attendees, and use the Q&A function to ask any questions. We'll address the questions after each session, and if time permits, at the end of all our panelists' discussion, we'll also address whichever questions we can. So, the YP has a rich history and exciting beginnings. But before we can talk about the present and the future we would like to shape, it is important that we understand the past. Here with us today, as Ayanda mentioned, are two founding members, Zuki and Dudu, who will give us some insight into the formation of the YP structure. So I'd like to hand over to Zuki.
Hi, Kirsten. Zuki's network is a bit unstable, but I see she's unmuted. So Zuki, do you want to kick us off and then I'll continue?
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. And we have a third member of the founding team who's just joined as well. Her name is Zanele. Firstly, it is really so heartwarming and certainly encouraging to see that the YP is still a living organization. At the time that we started, and I think we did the tally the other day when you guys reached out to us, and thank you for making us feel old. It was nearly 15 years ago when we as young people were bothered by the landscape that was South Africa at the time. Whether you choose to see that landscape from a political point of view, the battles within the corporate or private sector, at a socio-economic level, and you know, fast forward to present day, that complexity is now further textured by the frustration that students at university level are playing out. So it seems as if the issues persist, and that's why the voice of the young person has to stay relevant. So I certainly encourage you as the young professional body to keep at it. At that time, we were individuals across different parts of the country, and it seemed as if we're experiencing the same pain. At the time, we were two separate teams who had not met yet when we recognized that there is a body in the BMF who seemed to be the beacon of hope and the answer to some of the frustrations that we were experiencing. At that time, Jimmy Manyi, or Zwanele Manyi, was the sitting president of the BMF, and never to be shy though, us as young people, we didn't go via, the back door, but we went directly to the president to lay our frustrations. And we recognized very quickly from his guidance that the BMF as a structure had a chapter that spoke to the student voice. It also had the main body which spoke to the more senior of the corporate professionals who had the voice and the influence. What we recognized as missing was the young professional. So when you're not a student anymore and you're not a seasoned professional, where then do you belong? And that's where the conversation started with Jimmy Manyi and the leadership body at that time. Based on their guidance, they then put these two hungry, ambitious teams that were independent at the time and brought us together to say that, well, if you guys are concerned about it, we will give you the platform and the support that you need, but you must do the work. And so our journey began as, I speak under correction, I think in the end there were about 15 of us who then came together from different walks of life. I know that in that number, there was a cohort that had come from the BMF structures within the student body. So at least we had some ties and legacy to the culture of the organization when we formed the Young Professionals. I know I have 5 minutes to speak. Have I exhausted the time yet? And I can't switch on my video as requested purely because of the load shedding where I am. So I'm literally sitting in a dark room.
No problem, we understand. You still have a minute. You can wrap up if there's anything else you'd like to say. I've got a question for you, but I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just wrap it up by saying that we were indeed young, frustrated, ambitious, with a vision, but we needed guidance. And I think that's where the role of the Mr. Manyi-led BMF at the time played such a critical role in giving us both facility support, infrastructure support, and of course the legacy systems and the infrastructure within the main body. I know we had to at the time go and convince the entire BMF body at an AGM that the organization needs a young professionals. We did the preparation work. We were as professional and obviously as convincing as one can be, because after that AGM, it was then agreed that BMF will adopt a young professionals wing to the organization. And so here we are today. Interestingly, one of the members, Dudu, she has some strategy documents and minutes to meetings that we held at the time. This is going back to 2008. So if you guys would like to be privy to some of the thoughts, the conversations, the debates, the frustrations that we experienced, they would be communicated within those documents. We set up the structures to mimic the BMF body. in terms of the leadership team of the YP. And at some point, we then were in a position to elect a sitting chairperson. Her name is Tando Maisela, and she was the first, the chairperson. At some point, we were able to open a branch in Western Cape that was led by a gentleman, my goodness, whose name just escapes me, Atumile Majija and Andile Nomlala, who then established the Western Cape YP branch. So thank you to the leadership at the time who believed in us, and certainly thank you to you guys who have taken over the baton and held it for as long as we have. We are proud, and I will communicate to the founding members that the structure and the vision still stands and is more valid probably today than it was 13 years ago.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Zuki. Possibly to Dudu, just a quick question from my side. I mean, there were two separate groups that came together under the guidance of the BMF. Was there agreement in terms of the mandate or the goals that you guys would like to achieve back then, or was there a bit of a difference?
Please answer that, Gugu. Is there ever agreement?
Now you've even forgotten my name. You know, when Ayanda was saying she was trying to find us, I was like, you should have just started in the old age homes, bro. You would have found all of us. Yes, I think Zuki and Andile, and I can't remember now the other member, they were, if I remember correctly, Zuki, more entrepreneurial in the angle that they were bringing to BMF, and we had been coming from the corporate world. So I think if there was a difference, yes, that was notably that difference. But I think, you know, we were all young and ideologies were sometimes not aligned. And it took us a while to actually find each other, if I remember correctly. So we had to find each other. And I think using BMF as the base and using the objectives and the ideals of the BMF to guide us, that is what helped to kind of align us and to navigate this journey, this very exciting, painful, full of laughter, full of tears journey that we did go through as a team. So yeah.
Excellent, thanks a lot. That just shows that, you know, even with different opinions, you can find a middle ground and you can move forward together. We thank you guys for what you started back then, and we will continue working hard to make you guys proud.
Shut. Thank you.
Thank you, all the best.
Excellent. Next up, we have Tsepo Duma. I see the man is looking down. I don't know if he's hearing me. There we go. Mr. Duma is currently a management consultant and financial controller at MBCC Group, and he is currently our BMF YP Gauteng chairperson. Believe me when I say this man lives and breathes BMF YP, and he'll be talking to us a bit about the value proposition that the BMF has to offer. Tsepo, I hand over to you.
Hi, Kirsten. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure about leaving and breathing the BMF YP.
That's what.
Yeah, no, but thanks for that. Thanks. Thank you for that. So I'm going to try very briefly to talk about the value proposition of the young professionals within the BMF. I think from a membership point of view, from young professionals who are currently members of the BMF, and I think also for prospective members, if I can call it that, you know. I think what I also spend a bit more time on is also the Young Professionals Development Program, because I think over the years, we've, under the Young Professionals, we've managed to find a flagship program that we can be very proud of. It was, you know, envisaged and first initially conceptualized by a young professional, BMF young professional member, and it's going strong. So, I mean, one of the value propositions for members who are young professionals within the BMF is the access to type of leadership, the caliber of leadership that we would like to see in South Africa. I mean, you speak of the likes of Ubab Mzwanele Manyi, who, I mean, I'd never thought that I'd share a boardroom with him in part of the Manco meetings that we had at the branch, and I was just an ordinary member at that time, you know. So you have that, and when you engage with them, they are very approachable, and it's very easy for you to identify possible mentors, you know, and have them as your mentors. And I think also, just particularly from a brand point of view, the BMF is a well-known brand within South Africa, and the name itself carries a lot of weight. I see it in conversations that I have with who I would term senior people within the company, and I tell them that I'm a member of the BMF. Already they speak as though I'm their age, and they talk about past days, and I'm like, wait, hang on. That's not me. But I think who you're referring to, I've met a couple of times. I've engaged with them a couple of times, you know. Now, fast forward to something that I don't think we spend quite a bit of time on in terms of talking about, would be the Young Professionals Development Program, which I think for me encompasses all that we envisage young professionals to be, especially young BMF young professionals, and the sort of competencies that they should have, you know. So, I mean, if you look at the program itself, you know, the program looks at creating a leadership pipeline, in essence, which basically espouses the values and the philosophy of Ubuntu, respect, creativity, integrity, and also effectiveness. You know, we're looking at developing young professionals to be effective managers and leaders, you know, within the working environment and also within the communities, you know, and those should have, I mean, you should have positive impact within the organization and your communities. I think also another one as well within that is we're looking at creating young professionals, leaders and managers who could effectively contribute positively towards the economic growth of the country, you know. And so in order for us to ensure that they reach those objectives, we see them carry through those objectives, the program then seeks to develop, to upskill them, you know, to further develop them so that they have the necessary skills in order for them to become those effective managers and leaders, you know. And just to touch on some of the skills that they're provided within the program, you look at personal mastery, for example. Personal mastery speaks about understanding yourself and managing yourself. You know, another skill that they get is problem solving and decision making, which, you know, is quite crucial in the workplace. And now, if you're thinking about young professionals, you need to think about, in a BMF context, we're looking at graduates who've just come out of the Black Management Forum student chapter, who are now transitioning into the working world. And like how Zugi had spoken about earlier on, that the BMF did not have a space to cater for, you know, that call it demographic for lack of a better term, you know. And that's essentially what the young professionals is all about. And this is what the program is all about, that as well, to ensure that those skills that they gain will enable them to also survive within the workplace, better understand the workplace, you know. So apart from just managing themselves, they learn how to work in teams, lead teams, you know. And also another one, which is quite important, is looking at your job outputs, managing your outputs, you know. And then another one that we also look at is presentation skills. You know, presentation skills. We cannot provide you with all these skills and these, you know, problem solving and all these lovely skills, and you're not able to articulate them, you know. And so that's also quite important, you know. And then some of the other things that we also look at is, in essence, networking skills. We look at legal matters as well around Employment Equity and Labor Relations Act, because those are also important for young professionals to be able to understand, you know, understand how they work and how they can interpret those as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Tepo. I've got 2 quick questions on my side. People might be wondering, is there a cost involved to the YP development program? And if so, what it would be? And also, what kind of time commitment was there for you when you were doing it?
So I'll start on the time commitment. So the course has become known for, what do they call it again? I think the comparison made was that an MBA is a divorce course or something to that effect. And I think the YPDP is something closer to that. And a funny story that I can share is that, so time-wise, you know, when I was part of the program, I think it took about 9 to 10 months. Okay. And it was quite intense. Attending every second weekend, I think. So it's 2 weekends in a month you're attending. So one of our colleagues who was also part of the program, you know, obviously at home, because you're away from home for such a long time, there was starting to be a few challenges there. And his way of managing the challenges was to get his wife to come join the cohorts the following year. So it is quite intense. Yeah. From a money perspective, it really is expensive. It's about 750, which is your membership fee. So as a paying member in good standing, you are eligible to apply for the program. And one of the conditions that we had was, if should you feel you need to drop out, or should you drop out, then the amount that you would have paid about, I'd say 4 years ago when I was part of the program, was around 12,000. And I understand it has evolved now, so you could be looking at close to the regions of about 25,000, which is easily a program that you would pay for at a Gibbs, for argument's sake, or a Wits business school, you know.
Thanks. Thanks for that. I mean, that speaks to the value of the program. And I think even that amount is a highly subsidized amount either way.
Exactly.
Out in the academic world, it would be much more.
Exactly. And I just wanted to make one point here. Uzugi, I think, you know, they'll be proud to know that, you know, in creating the young professionals within the BMF, what has now happened is that we now see young professionals occupying at least 50% of the seats at Manco senior level within branches in Gauteng. And I think that's testament to the vision that was there initially when YP was created. And I think also the hard work over the years to where we are. And I think also young professionals in Gauteng make up about 50% or 55% of the membership in total for Gauteng. So that we were doing something good.
Great. Thanks for that information, Tepo. I see Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi has joined us, and she's actually next on the agenda. Dr. Vilakazi is an academic and consultant on business and customer strategy. She's the CEO of Ntsikelelo Business Solutions, and she is here with us today in her capacity as the BMF Sandton branch chairperson, my chairperson. Dr. Vilakazi will be telling us about the vital link and relationship between the mother body and the YP. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Program Director. And Chairperson, Ayanda, my chairperson, you know, she's doing very well. I'm very proud of how she's taking on the baton. Thank you so much for arranging this session. I think it's one of those very important sessions in any organization, because every now and then you do need to pause and ask yourself, who are you? Why do you do what you do? You know, it's very easy sometimes to go down the rabbit hole and end up doing things that are not core to who you are if you don't reflect. So reflections are very, very important. So thank you so much, Ayanda and the team for organizing this reflection. And I also like to thank Ududu and Zuki for accepting the invitation to come here and just give us umraburo, if you may, if you understand the language of the the ruling party, just to help us understand why the structure was created again, so that you constantly, as we move forward, we constantly look back and understand why we do what we do, how it was started, and why it was started. And from what you guys started, Uzuki, she's basically referenced what I wanted to say about the key connection between the mother body and the structure, the YP structure, and which is connecting us to issues of the time. The way I see YP is it's almost like the window to the future for the mother body, because what it does, it helps us to keep and stay relevant, because if we don't understand the issues of the time, the young people's issues, which will be carried on to the future, then it means we can't be relevant as an organization. And I think that's why Mr. Manye at the time, with his vision, as the visionary that he was, he realized the importance, and that's why I guess he was adopted, that you do need a youth wing, because then it becomes that window that if these are the issues that the country is battling with, how then do we position ourselves as an organization to remain relevant to those issues? If young people are still fighting the fight of fees, and fees must fall in 2021, it's a problem. I mean, I remember when I was a student myself, it's just, at the time we were just grateful to be at university, so we didn't complain much. We just accepted things as they were. And the young generation now, they do complain, and they have a right to complain. And if they are dealing with those issues, what does that mean for corporate South Africa? And as an organization that is dealing with transformation, how do we incorporate those kind of issues in our agenda of transformation, our broader agenda of transformation? What does it mean for a young person who's struggled to pay their way to start coming into the workplace, and what are other challenges that they will be facing? And these are the kind of issues that we need to then, if you want to be relevant, we start talking about. What does it mean to be a young professional? So it's a limb, if I may, to the mother body that is very critical. You can't really function without YP. Or this young professional structure because of that. And what it does, though, for a member who wants to serve, which I would encourage, because as an entry point, if you're young, a certain age, you're starting out in corporate South Africa, and you want to join the BMF, automatically you become a YP member because of your age. Just instead of staying only as a member, I would really encourage more young people to then serve in the structure itself, like in the MENCO. Why? Because again, it teaches you, as Utepo has outlined, some of the programs that you get, leadership programs that you get, but serving in the structure, then it's a practical way of learning how to lead. It is very, very important. You learn the basics of leadership, especially because it's a voluntary organization. BMF as a structure, as an organization, we all contributing our time, our ideas, our efforts and everything because of the vision to contribute to the country. So it is a voluntary organization. But when you start younger and start serving, you learn the basics early. And by doing that, then it becomes easy to even leapfrog in the organization, because you gain some skills that you would have taken a longer time to acquire in a typical corporate organization, because you just don't have the opportunities. For instance, you get to, in this case, organize such events that the team has organized, get speakers that you would, like Tepo has said, people that you wouldn't normally engage with, but because of the platform, it allows you to reach those people. And by doing that, you're building a network. And by building the network, also you get the platform to be speaking in public and all of that. These are skills of leadership that in a corporate organization you would really struggle to be exposed to. So being a YP member is important for the programs that you get, but even more important is the leadership. If you decide, and I would encourage you to really volunteer to serve in the Manco, come up with ideas that take us forward as an organization. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. I do have a question for you before I let you go.
Okay.
The mother body and you being the chairperson, what is your vision for BMF Sandton branch?
Well, the branch, it needs to represent the idea, like I always put it as, it needs to be the light. When we're talking about leadership development as an organization, that we are about managerial development, which essentially it boils down to leadership as well, and we are about socioeconomic transformation. The vision is that we need to represent that. If somebody is looking at Sandton, they shouldn't have to ask that what is BMF, what does BMF stand for, or what is the relevance of this organization. They should see by what we are doing that, oh, okay, so these guys are actively trying to develop people who are either entrepreneurs or in corporate, who are trying to move to the next level of their career. And when they look at YP, for instance, they need to see what it means to serve. For instance, the program of adopting a community, it's very close to my heart. And Utsepo didn't mention that you also get to be part of a team that goes to communities that are less fortunate than some of us, and find ways to uplift them, come up with initiatives. By doing that, you're learning how to lead. And essentially, that's what leadership is about. It's about serving. So when you look at such programs and you see the team going into these communities, you immediately, you need to know that this is what this organization stands for. It stands for service. We serve the people that we lead, and because that's what essentially what leadership is about. So my vision is that we need to embody what the organization is about. We need to do what the founders of this organization hoped, but obviously in a more relevant way, addressing the challenges of our time.
Thank you. I'm going to put you on the spot and ask just one more question. Maybe you can tell us a little about your journey from joining the BMF to becoming BMF Sandton chairperson. Did you serve in which committees, and what was your involvement, and how did it all get to where you are today?
Yeah, my journey in the BMF is quite interesting, because I, like most people, used to see this organization and I respected it, and I felt that it represents who I am. And then I inquired how to join it, and I paid my 750, and it hasn't changed, by the way. The cost, year on year, it has remained the same. So I joined the BMF, and then I just became a member. And I would hear about events. Some of them I look at them like I'm not interested. Some of them I come in and attend, but I was just a member that was just there and doing nothing. And because I was participating in other activities, other structures outside the BMF, what happened was I was facilitating a strategy session, economic strategy session for the ANC. And Langa Mangel, I invited Langa to come and present a view from the BMF, economic strategy, for a view from the BMF. Langa came, I met Langa. So what happened was I attended a, what do you call it? When you entering the BMF, what do you call it? Induction.
Induction. Yes.
Yes. I attended an induction program, and I met Langa there. I remember in that induction, I felt so proud to be surrounded by such professionals they were so well spoken, they knew their stuff, and I felt like, wow, this organization is really like a good organization to be associated with. And I had this strategy session coming up, and I had very little to say. So I invited Langa to come and present a BMF view. He came, he wowed everybody like as I had been wowed myself. And then he invited me to come and serve in the BMF. Like, why are you not serving? I said, no, I'm a member, but I don't know. I just don't know why I wasn't serving. Like, no, come and serve in my in his committee. He was, because Langa at the time was chairperson of Gauteng. Then I came and served in his committee as the policy and research, in the policy and research portfolio. I headed up that. So I worked with Langa on that, did very well. And then the next thing was that, okay, I'm part of this organization already, and then I might as well then start serving in the structures properly so that I understand the structures, all of them. So, and the next thing that was logical was that then I must stand, because I was a member of the Sandton branch. So I must stand for leadership. And fortunately, I was nominated. By the way, I was nominated in a room full of men and by men. I was the only woman there, except another member from Johannesburg, a female member from Johannesburg who had just visited the session, and that was voted for men. So sometimes, you know, we need men, especially when we talk about the gender issue in the BMF, because it's sometimes it's a glaring issue. So we do need men sometimes to go out like Langa did and find the right women, or the women that they think represent or reflect the organization, and bring them into the structures, and then they grow from within. And that's exactly how my journey has been with the BMF.
Thanks for that. I will let you go. No more questions from my side. Thanks a lot for that. And we are honored to have you as our chairperson, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I'll touch on two things that Dr. Vilakazi mentioned, and that Tsepo also mentioned, the one about leadership. And something that Tsepo always tells me is that the great thing about the BMF is that it's an opportunity to make mistakes and to break things and to learn very quickly without fear, because you find people who will be able to guide you, who will advise you, who will help you learn from your mistakes. So it's a nice environment for you to come and learn about leaderships and make decisions and make mistakes, and then go out there and, you know, take over the world. The last thing is networking. There's a difference. There's sometimes a misconception that networking is getting a number or a business card. That only gets you so far. Real networking is to be able to have Dr. Vilakazi's cell phone number and being able to understand what matters to her, what does she stand for, and how can she help you. And you can only do that when you spend time with the person. And if you're part of the BMF structures, you get to spend quite a bit of time with various people in various leadership structures. And that's where the true networking comes in. I'll leave it at that. And with that, we'll continue to our next item. We also have Kabelo Khodani with us, Business Development Manager, Airlines Sub-Saharan Africa. If after all you've heard from our previous panelists has not impressed you about the YP, Kabelo, our Head of Community Development in the Sandton YP branch, will be talking to us about the benefits and the reasons for joining the BMF and sharing her experience. Over to you, Kabelo.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Wow. So firstly, let me start with my reason why I joined the BMF and the BMF YP. So I'm in the airline, aviation IT space at the moment. But before that, I was in the telco space. Started my career there, and I was, I worked really hard, and I got my first international assignment to Germany. So I lived in Germany for 3 years. Was wonderful. And as the assignment came, to an end, I had an opportunity to either stay there, take on, a full-on contract that side and so on. But I was very deliberate, and I chose to come back to South Africa. And I remember thinking to myself, I want to go back home because I want to be one of the people who are going to contribute positively to the economic growth of my country. And if you say I am talent out there in the world, surely, my talent can be used to better my country and my continent. So I was very excited, and I was at a place in my life where I needed to connect with young professionals, firstly, who looked like me, because anyone who's ever lived in those parts of the world will understand how you are a minority for most of the time. And so it was just so important for me to be around people that look like me, people who are just as excited as I was about the future of South Africa, and who are actively in preparation for senior leadership roles. And that's when I found the BMF. You know, I found it, I inquired online, started the membership process, paid my membership dues, and I was in. And just very quickly after that, the BMFYP then absorbed me. And I think from the founders of the YP, as they explained why this was founded, I literally felt it, because, you know, there's sort of a space where between the mother body and below student charter, there's like a gap where you feel I have a lot to offer, but I don't really know how to go about it. So I was very excited to be invited, you know, by the likes of my chairperson, Ayanda, to be part of the YP and to serve, most importantly. So just being here, I think there's a lot of value in being a BMF member. And everyone has already said, right, from the networks, the mentorship and mentoring opportunities you can give, the community development opportunities that you can get involved in, and the career advancement opportunities. It's a lot. So when you look at all of that, I would say that something really good that we are doing as young professionals is being the change that we want to be and taking our world with us. So you'll remember that Tsepo spoke about how I think the numbers were over 50% or so of the members are now YP. And it's simply because we made a decision to say there's so much value in the space and we are not leaving our networks behind, right? So our friendship circles, business, you know, in our business spaces, we're bringing all of them along. And I'm just so excited to see, you know, new people coming in and adding on. Kirsten, if you'd allow me, there's also another program that I had the privilege to attend. Maybe I can share a little bit about that.
Please.
Okay, thank you. So, you know, it was quite, 2020, right? COVID hits, everybody's like in a panic and so on. But I was really excited to see this email from the BMF about the Women in Power program. So very often you'll hear out there that a lot of people are like, "Oh, BMF, I don't know. Sounds like a male organization. I don't think I have a place there," or so on. But I was really impressed to see how we really, the women are here. You need to come on and you need to come join us, because we are here and, you know, we are contributing to this thing. And so I applied for the Women in Power program. I was really happy to be selected. And I went through the program. So last year it was online due to the lockdown regulations and so on. But it was really great to see how everyone around the country managed to join. So from all the different provinces, it was one big program, ladies in there. And the program really highlighted the many roles that we women play in society. We spoke a lot about gender matters, and they gave us an opportunity to build knowledge and skills and, you know, some competencies that as we step into senior decision-making roles, we own our power without actually relinquishing who we are. And the program just mainly focused on these three modules. So it was leading self, leading others, and leading business. And I was really, it's great, you know, when you go through these modules, and they were really quite active. You had to be awake and just involved, which was wonderful. But one thing that really made a difference for me, I would say, was the Lift As You Rise project. So we were then tasked to go out there and find a young lady, young girl, but also not forgetting the boys in our society, or boy, and mentor them. You had to then sit with them, work out a mentorship agreement with them, and how you were going to pass on the knowledge that you had gotten from this course onto them. And on the last day, we had to then present all of this, and it was just amazing to see the change that all of us are, coming into, or rather going into our world to go and create. So that for me was just super amazing. And I would encourage all of the ladies that are here, that are part of the BMF or BMFYP, that are still going to join, to look out for opportunities like those, because they are there.
Great, thanks. You are head of our community development portfolio. Maybe quickly you can just share with us any project you are working on that excites you, that you started recently, just to give people an idea of what you actually do.
Sure, Kirsten. So beginning of 2021, I'm really excited to say that we went into the community of Alex. We've really just adopted, we just decided, you know what, we're going to look for amazing things that are already happening. So what we didn't want was to go in as saviors, you know, because people are already there, they're empowering themselves, and we thought we want to add on to what already exists. So there's a center there called Ratangbana. It's a center that they don't house, but they take in a lot of orphans and children from child-headed households that are affected by HIV and AIDS and so on. And these kids can drop by every day, Monday to Friday, where they would get food for themselves and their families. They'd get help, you know, with their schooling and anything else regarding their households. It's just, yeah, it's a center of angels, really. And when we came in, we were just so amazed by the type of things that they were doing, the vision they had. And they really just said to us, look, guys, we are so excited to see a group of young Black, you know, professionals coming in to say, we don't, you know, it's not even about the money, but we are coming to volunteer our time, a bit of money when we can, and just some resources and networks that we bring with us to make your lives better. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope over the course of this year, everyone can get an opportunity to come join us on the different initiatives that we're working on. So just briefly, we've already assisted with the baking project. So they've got a project there where they've got like these pizza ovens that they built outside, and they want to turn that into a whole marketplace where the whole Alexander community can come and buy bread, you know, vegetables and foods from their garden and so on. So we're helping them put all of that together, working on the marketing and just ideas to see how we can make that better. So far, you know, it's quite amazing because we've already had a lot of sponsors, people calling us to say, hey, we've seen what you're doing and we want to get involved. So specifically with the baking project, there was this, what do you call it? The thing that we need to wheel out.
The caravan, the little
caravan type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know,
mobile kitchen. That's
mobile kitchen, there we go. Yeah, thank you. So, you know, they're trying to sell bread out of that, but they have to wheel it out of the place and wheel it back in every evening. Now, the problem was this thing did not have wheels because the wheels were stolen. And, you know, as a start, that was the first thing that needed to happen. So we've had brands come up and they've already donated wheels for us. So that's yay, they've got that. So we just keep building onto that and just ensuring that these kids, man, have shoulders of giants, which is us, to stand on. Because we, you know, I really do believe that the future is there for them as well. I think what we need to create is the opportunities for them to build whatever it is that they want to be someday. And we are very mindful of the fact that we are here today because someone thought that we were important enough sometime in our lives and in our careers. So to be able to do that for these kids in Alex is just, it's an honor.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And we are fully behind you, and all the best with the project. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Your thoughts with us.
Thanks, Kirsten.
The two things, just from that, I think for me, the one, the lift as we rise concept, it's a very important concept within South Africa, considering the history of where we come from. There are some of us who've been fortunate enough to whether it's get a good education, a good job, and, you know, as Kabelo mentioned, someone thought you were important enough to give you an opportunity. Those opportunities are crucial for the people who come after us. We have to lift as we rise. We have to pick up someone. It is not just something you do because you're nice. It's actually a duty, in my opinion, at least. So as we move forward every day in our jobs, in our lives, let's think about that. Let's lift as we rise. Something else from me also, just to touch on the programs, Kabelo touched on the Women Empowerment Program. There was the YP Development Program. And I just wanted to mention to everybody here that those are just two of the multiple opportunities of learning and development that are available in the BMF. There are more than those two. And, you know, there are different parts of your skills and at different levels that you can improve yourself. The one I'm quite excited about is called the Outliers Leadership Development Program. It's a very exciting program. It has just launched this year. And I implore you to look into that if you're interested in leadership development. It just takes it to a whole new level. From my side, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any questions, please put them up there. I know there have been a few questions in the chat, and a few of my colleagues have already answered them. If there are any others, please feel free to put them in there. But I will take this opportunity to thank you for your attention and hand the mic back to Ayanda.
Thanks, Kirsten. Thank you so much. So I'm going to close off, but before I do that, I just want to speak a little bit about what everybody spoke about. And one of the most important things is the fact that we are a stepping stone for young professionals who want to be in leadership positions. And we are very, very interested and very, very passionate about developing leaders. That's just who we are. And also, like Kabelo was saying, to give back to the community. It's also part of what we are about. And I just want to share my story quickly before I thank everybody. So I joined BMF about 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, 2018, I think. And between then and now, right, I've done both the YPDP program and the Women in Power program, mainly because I'm such an opportunist. Like, I'm also the Outlier program with you, Kirsten. Like, though I'm just, anytime there's like an opportunity, it's like, oh, there's a new program. I'm just like, do I have time? I'm not sure. I might have time. Anyway, I'm gonna do it, you know? So from YPDP, that's where I started. And Utsapo is right. It's very time consuming. It demands a lot out of you. And I would recommend it that, yes, maybe take it with your partner. Like, the both of you must just come together, because you spend so much time away from home. You spend so much time with the group, because it's a group program. You get grouped into, you know, and I think 5, 6 people or 7 in a group. But for me, because I did it 2019, 2020. So we started it before COVID, right? So we went through the whole program, attending, you know, every month. And then COVID happened just before we had to do our presentation, because you need to do it's called an ALP, which is an action learning project. Basically what that is, now this is interesting, what that is an actual live problem that is happening in South Africa, in a specific sector in South Africa. Not a make-believe scenario case study. I mean, like an actual problem that a company or an institution or an organization is having. And they'll come and they'll say, listen, we have this issue and we need somebody to solve it. And that somebody is then us as the participants of the program. Can you imagine being responsible for like an actual thing that needs to be live, that is going to go to and is going to help towards whoever the sponsor of the program or of the project or the issue is? So it was quite a lot, like, you know, on our shoulders with your guys, like we actually solving people's real problems. It's not like we're gonna go back home and then it's like somebody's gonna forget about it. It's action learning. So it's something that's the whole point of YPDP, that whatever you're learning in the program, you must take back to work. You must take back to wherever you are, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're in a company, whatever the case may be, take back the learnings and just like use them. So for me, like I'll tell you, for instance, when I joined, I'm a very shy person. Like presenting skills, all of those things, problem solving, I knew nothing. I came in, I was just this like shy little girl there in the corner, and I went through that program, and over and above the things that it teaches you, also the networking. That's also, it comes in because you are in a group, like I said, 5-6 people. We were a cohort of about 56 people. Every single month for about 10 months, you see these people for an entire weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday from 8 to 5. It was like a job pay. So you see these people, you get to speak to them, you get to know them, what they do for a living. And that's where you get to network. You're like, oh, okay, so you actually, you know, yeah, like you're an accountant. I need an accountant. Oh, okay, so you are in finance. Oh, I'm thinking of this and this and this. And I mean, that cohort, for instance, the one group in the cohort decided to start a company. Like those individuals just met in the program. They decided, you know what, there's a gap here. We're going to start a company and this is what we're going to supply. And the support that you get, you know, when you need something, you know, in the 56, there's somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who can get it for you. So over and above just learning, it's the connections that you make, you know, till today. I mean, yesterday, somebody sent me a message and they were like, listen, I'm looking for an accountant who can help me with my tax because I'm a tax consultant. And I was like, okay, so what exactly do you need? You know, I might not be able to assist you, but I'll know somebody who can. So all of that just comes into play. So that's the very important thing, firstly. And I won't lie, it took a lot. Hey, there were days when, because you'd have to meet as a group and you'd have to agree on what the group wants. So you have 6 people who have 6 different opinions having to agree on one. So we would spend hours. We would spend on a Saturday, we would spend hours. We would leave, or a Friday for that matter, we would sit for like 6 hours debating, you know, trying to get people to understand your point of view, teaching you how to articulate what you are thinking, right? Teaching you how to get people to understand where you're coming from. It was such a process. Like I said, like some nights I would come home, I would be tired and I'd just be like, I'm finished. But what I got out of it was so amazing. And just to then go back, I was saying, so we had to present, right? Our project, COVID started. So we actually did our presentation on Zoom. And it was a first because before the program was done, you know, in person, and we were the test subjects for it. And I understand that this year, I think it's going to be online. So all the best to everybody who started the program last weekend, the 2021 cohort. But for the coming years, I'm very interested to see how they will bring in this whole situation of online learning, you know. And quite interestingly, one of the things that we had to look at, my group in the project, was whether or not BMF can actually provide a program online. And that's what's happening. Literally, we did this project and now it's coming to life. And I was telling my group the other week, because I mean, we still have a WhatsApp group, even though the program is done. And I was like, guys, can you see that this is literally what our project, we were just like, you should stop having programs like in a building, you know, because technology is moving and you want people to be involved. I don't want to attend a program and then if I'm not in the country, then I miss out because I can't attend class. So if something is online, wonderful. So that was our project. And we were so happy when we found out that the YPDP is happening online. That's the first thing. And the second thing, the Women in Power program, like Kabelo was speaking about it, we were actually in the same cohort last year. It was so amazing. The Lift As You Rise project, I mean, I've never had a mentee. Now all of a sudden, I must like teach this young girl all that I'm learning. And it's been such an experience. So like I said, I've only been here for 2 years, but already I'm just like going through the programs. Hey, I'm not stopping. I'm just like, whenever there's an opportunity, I'm there. And all for 750. And I always ask people, if you're paying 750 a year and you hear of a program that could cost you about 50,000, why wouldn't you apply? I'm gonna apply, you know, I'm gonna use it. Like if I'm here, I'm already here. I'm already giving my time to the BMF. I might as well get the benefit of the programs. I might as well get the benefit of the networking. So I'm gonna use that. So that's basically my story. And like, over and above, you know, serving in the Menko, over and above giving back to the community, I am getting so much more for 752 programs going on 3. And out of it, I'm just becoming like a better person, a better leader. So that's just my story. Just went over time. So yeah, so I'm just gonna close off by thanking everybody. I want to thank all my panelists. So I want to thank Dudu and Zuki, who I must say have been so wonderful. I literally only spoke to them on Monday because that's when I got their details over the weekend. So just trying to get them to come and speak, and they never ever said no. They were just like, of course, we are game. We want to see, you know, what our brainchild has gone to, and their legacy is definitely continuing. We have taken the baton and we are going to move it on. But I'm so grateful for them for coming through. And with that, I'm actually gonna thank all the founders of the YP. I hope I'm gonna read everybody's name properly. So these are the founders of the BMF YP, which happened back in 2008. Usipho Ngohani, Andile Nxiwani, Uzuki Zoyani, and then it's Utando Maisela, Uzanele Mobida, Utumi Rabayani, Ududu Mazibuko, and Upalisa Masijana. I want to thank all of those founders for starting this. And we are here now because these guys saw a vision and they were like, you know what, we want to do this. We want to create a space for young professionals to become leaders. Thank you so much, guys, for taking that onto your shoulders, you know, and we are standing on your shoulders. Like you are the giants, we are standing on your shoulders. And then I'd like to thank my other panelists. So thank you, Dr. Sibongile as my chairperson. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and speak. And thank you for leading us, you know. Like, I never thought I would be sitting in boardrooms with people who do so much and people who are just excelling at what they do. And that's what Dr. Sibongile. Sometimes I'm even scared to call her because I feel just like I'm disturbing her. She's doing something really important, but she always has the time. She's always willing to speak. She's always pushing us as the young professionals. Guys, do what you're doing great. Always willing to help. Dr. Sibongile, to you and your Menko. Thank you so much for the support that we get as the YP. I would like to thank Utsepo Duma. He's also my chairperson from a YP's perspective because he leads the whole of Gauteng. So I, as a branch chairperson, report to him. Thank you so much, Tsepo, always willing to give me explanations no matter how many times I ask you to. But that, because like I said, I'm fairly new to the BMF. So whenever I need to know something, my first point of call is Tsepo. I'm just like, listen, I'm trying to do this with the branch. Can we do it? Has it been done before? What can we do? What can we better? And he's always willing to give advice and he's always available. Thank you so much, Tsepo, for that. And I would like to thank Ukabelo. She just joined us late last year as part of our Menko, and she's just been amazing. She just hit the ground running in the community development portfolio. She heads it, and she has gotten so much done. I think she didn't mention this, but the other day, she found out, I think last weekend, if not 2 weekends back, she found out that Umo Flavor, the DJ, used to help at Ratangbana, which is the organization we're helping in Alex. And she contacted him because he had lost contact with the lady who heads up the organization. And she said, listen, we're doing this. And he donated. You know, he sponsored something for the organization. Kabelo, you've been so amazing. And I mean, literally, it's been less than 6 months. Like, every time I see your name pop up on my phone, I'm just like, I know Kabelo has great news for me. Thank you so much for what you do. Hey, thank you. And Kirsten, I didn't think he introduced himself as what he does on my Menko. So Kirsten is the guy who handles the money. Like, he is our finance guy. Yes. So whenever we need to do something that requires money, we speak to this guy. Thank you so much for agreeing to facilitate the event. You know, for pulling through, guys. I mean, I know this week was crazy. I was busy like sending messages the whole week. Now we have to change this. Now we have to change that. You know, we're running around, having you guys on calls like late, you know, yesterday at 6, we were doing this, you know. Thank you so much for you guys for not saying no, you know, for being so passionate about serving. And basically my whole Menko, my whole team, thank you guys. None of this would have been possible without you. And also just the people who came up with the idea to do this. Thank you so much, guys. From inception, and we managed it. It was a really hectic event to plan, mainly because of so many panelists. And I'd also like to thank the BMF office, Ntlantla, and your team for making sure this happens online. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our members, because we are a member-driven organization. Without you guys, none of this is important. Like, we can sit here and do all of this by ourselves, but if we don't have your support and we don't have you guys rallying after us, we really don't have a job to do. So thank you so much for always supporting us as our membership. And I promise you, this year we are just running with it. We are doing the most with young professionals. There are so many initiatives that are involving our members. We are really trying to get the most benefit for all of our members, and that's just watch social media. Just watch your social media this year. We are just running with getting the YP out there, people knowing what we do and seeing what we do. And also potential members, please, by all means, go to our website, BMF, to join us and come and serve. Like, we always need people who want to serve, who are passionate about serving. Let's all just like make each other better and make our communities and our economy much better. Thank you guys for joining us. And that's all from me. Thank you.